Amsterdam Kitchen. Join us live on Saturday mornings
from 10 till 12
on Broadcast Amsterdam.
Or catch up later.
It's all online.
Hello and welcome to the Amsterdam Kitchen with me, Kathy Central.
And me, Geli Carney.
Cool. And it's our last show of the season.
It is, yes. Season 3, no less, in fact. We're getting old hands at this, Kathy.
Yeah. So we've had 6 episodes. I'm going to take a break for the summer. And we'll be back on air with a fresh show and series from the 5th of September on Saturday mornings. And during the summer, I'm sure if you tune in at the same time, our time spot, you'll get some highlights or something over the summer. So.
Sure, yeah. We're not going to leave you completely cold. Don't worry about that.
Yeah. But
so what have we got?
What have we got?
Well, what have we got? No, we've got a great show, actually. We've got our special guest, Effie Halkidis from the Greek Deli. That is a market store on the Lindengracht. And she's also the importer of Greek lekkerness, as Kathy, you put it very well said.
Lekkerness.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we're in a little while, very shortly, in fact, we're going to talk to her about her experiences of running a market store during Corona crisis and lots of other really interesting things, actually. Broadcast Amsterdam.
And welcome to our studio, Effie Halkidis from the Greek Deli.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Oh, it's our pleasure.
Yeah. And you've come to talk to us. I mean, the main thing you do is that you have a market stall on the Lindengracht market, and you're importer of, I call it Greek lekkerness.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about your market stall.
Well, it's once a week, every Saturday, in a very beautiful old part of Amsterdam, in the Jordaan area, they call it. And I import very unique food because I import direct from all the Greek farmers, from all their little tiny villages, mostly organic. A lot is ecological. I bring it door to door, direct to the Dutch public, so to speak.
Yeah.
And my stall is a bit of a circus every Saturday because everybody comes and they tell me their stories and they speak Greek. We speak Greek, English, Dutch, and I'm just like fluid and waiting for everything and anything to come in all directions. And I try to service the public. I look for what they need and I try to provide that.
Fantastic. I mean, it sounds like an experience just to go and witness it's melting pots.
It's very funny. It's very, very funny. Yeah.
So you said you mentioned off air that a lot of your customers are really very loyal. What do you think makes them that way? What do they particularly enjoy from your stall?
Well, from the beginning, I have had a personal connection with my customers. I like to know their names. I have their mobile numbers. If they need anything, they text me. I tell them not late at night, do not call because I don't pick up, only WhatsApp or messages and so forth. And they like that because they have found this world has become so impersonal. And for the whole time I have been on the market, I have tried to keep it as personal as possible. And so I think it's great. You feel you have an experience, and there are people that look forward to coming, and they tell me their stories and so forth. So
yeah, wonderful.
And you've been going for 8 years. But back then, 8 years ago, what made you start it?
Well, we had a financial crisis, especially in Greece and in also various parts of Europe. And some industries imploded. My previous profession was a glassblower, and that also was one of the industries that imploded. And lucky for me, I was already engaging in food in a massive way. And I am Greek-Australian. I have a house in Lesbos. I know the Lesbos people. I started with importing organic olive oil direct from the farmers and without middlemen. And so it grew from there. I realized there was a huge gap in the market here because most of the products are... they're very commercial. They're very. They might be less expensive or less in price, but the quality just doesn't fly, and the farmer is getting far less for the money because there are so many people along the way that take their piece of the pie.
Yeah, that's the bit we always forget, isn't it?
Yeah. And so the starting product really, which was like the ignition for it, was the olive oil, I suppose, that people really could tell that the supermarket olive oil wasn't what they really wanted.
Yep, precisely. Yeah. And I used to have the photo of the farmer on the label. So they would see it was Costas or Kyria Maria, which is Mevrouw, Madam Maria, a lovely old lady of 70-something. And they all fell in love with her. So it was her olive oil. They could look at her on the label.
Fantastic.
And the day came when she couldn't provide the olive oil anymore, and everyone was heartbroken because she couldn't get the help. Yeah. So they said they felt that they had Maria in their house. And it was so beautiful. And even some of the customers, I'm very transparent. And I told everybody you can always go and visit them and have a coffee with them.
Wow.
Which they did.
Yeah, so I was wondering if that had happened. That's fantastic.
They went to Lesbos, two tall Dutch girls, really like leggy and 2 meters or so high. And they found this tiny little Maria with this empty bottle of olive oil. They were looking for her in the village, pointing to her.
I love it. Could make a little documentary.
Yeah. It was so beautiful. And I have that with many of my producers, my farmers. I have a lot of stories like that.
More Dutch visitors.
I feel like it's a two-way thing. I just don't buy and just sell and then it stops there. I really want to feel the result of that and how people feel about it. So I want both parties to know the result. So I also tell the Greeks, this is what's happened. Your olive oil has done this and that, and these are the reactions. So they're not used to that kind of personal feedback. So
it's wonderful.
Yeah.
So you set the market stall up about 8 years ago, obviously, as you mentioned, as a result, really, of the financial crisis that hit Greek in particular. Now, we've just come through, hopefully, a corona crisis. So how did you cope on the market during this lockdown period that we've come?
Well, like any crisis, I think it can bring the best out of people. Firstly, you really challenge yourself because people around me were quite afraid. Everything happened so sudden. But I feel I have a high responsibility to my customers, especially the elderly. So I kept going, I kept selling, I kept cooking. I sent out a beautiful text message to everybody to give them assurance and security with me that the food will still be there, or I can deliver to their homes, or they could order, we can arrange a way. They used to pick up from my house. I used to leave their food in bags ready down at the stairs in the entrance. They wouldn't meet me, but we would arrange payments through electronic, and they would buzz in and pick up their bag and go. This was in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then I just kept listening to what people wanted. Most people were at home. I developed the menu. I changed the menu slightly. They were buying more and more. They trusted me and my food more. They didn't want to go to supermarkets. They didn't trust a lot. And I guess in moments like this, we all need to feel security. We need comfort food. And so I try to give them comfort just in all sides.
Yeah. Fantastic. So you're not just selling products like olive oil and olives, presumably, and feta. I know we'll come to that in a minute. But so are you actually preparing dishes as such?
Oh, yeah. Because I have such amazing ingredients that you don't need many ingredients to prepare a beautiful pie if the quality is good.
Absolutely.
And also, you don't need a lot of it. So I prepared a variation of the Greek menu, but I cook far lighter. I don't fry heavily with olive oil, or I grill, and I'm consciously aware of the diets and the requirements of the public, so I adapt to their needs.
Fantastic. Great flexibility that you've demonstrated, throughout your food career, really.
But it is beautiful because the stories continue. I have an inspiration. I make something. I develop it. I don't just knock it out from a recipe. And people buy it and they text me, "Oh, this orange cake, I'm going to eat it with my grandma on Sunday. And grandma is coming from the other side of Holland." and they're all going to enjoy this cake. And I'm thinking, on a Sunday, I have this image in my mind. I'm thinking, oh, how great that, my Inika, she's enjoying the cake with her family today. So I think it's a beautiful circle.
Yes.
Whatever we do, we should do it with a personal connection if we can. And I think then the richness comes. Mm-hmm. It's not about a financial reward. It's about that line that continues.
Yeah. So, but you had some real issues with your market stall in particular, didn't you? You came up against a bit of a stumbling block. What happened?
In the beginning of the corona, because of the COVID-19, because of the requirements of the government, the Dutch government, they said essentials, food only are the essentials. So they removed all the other non-food people from the market. So the people selling handbags and shoes were not allowed on the market. And I found that a bit sad because they are some of my buddies. We all have been working so beautifully together for many years. So I was looking forward to them coming back. But I had it busy. They spread the market out with the regulations and so forth. Customers adapted, stayed in line. We had really beautiful days. And then beginning of June, they announced that the non-food were allowed back. And I was excited, thinking, great, my buddies will be selling next to me. We'll be having fun again, like we usually do. And then they sent everybody, certain people, an email saying you are not allowed. Certain people were allowed. And they told me you can't come back to the market. There's no space for you because all the others are coming back. And so I was devastated because I just imported all this food. I have customers who need my food every week. Every week they said, I cannot be without this feta or these olives. So that was a very hard battle. We're battling it now. I don't have 100% guarantee that I have a stand every week, but I do go. And that
must be hard because you're obviously having to prepare as if you're going to get a place at the market, and I imagine that's a lot of physical effort as well as the mental.
Absolutely,
thinking.
But the world is so beautiful. Really, I think I said in the beginning of the COVID-19, either you will see now the ugliness of people or the beautiful side of people. And I have had about 3 customers offer me their houses.
Wow.
I even have the keys of one especially.
Amazing.
So if I don't get a stand, I will sell from this person's house. And
that's
the plan.
Wonderful, yeah. A very typical Amsterdam attitude, I think. That,
yes.
we're just going to make this happen.
And it's very Jordan attitude, really. They don't. Then people are really upset about it all, and they've all been complaining on my behalf. So let's just see what happens there.
So but you haven't. There's no more certainty for you yet.
No, they said now the rules will relax again 1st of July, and they are trying really hard to give me a spot because I've had a huge amount of people spam the inbox of the Dutch.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, well done.
And
People power, customer power.
Exactly, and I've had 2. I've been twice in the Amsterdam Parool newspaper, a review over food from a amazing food critic, Gilles van Loo, and also from Laura. She wrote a very big article about me and the market.
Yes, I saw that.
And it's quite an unfortunate situation. I'm not angry. I'm just thinking no one should be removed from the market. We all need to find a compromise and find a way we can be there.
Absolutely, yeah. So amazing spirit you're demonstrating, Effie. Really, really well done to you.
I just really believe in simplicity and the beautiful things of life, really.
Yeah.
Podcast Amsterdam.
We were just talking off air, Effie, about the fact that you had done a couple of pitches recently to companies that hope, possibly to stock some of your produce, and I was interested in that. And really, how did you secure those pitches for anyone else out there who is interested in setting up a market stall or wanting to grow their business? How did you get to that position? How do you prepare for the pitch itself? Things like that.
Well, it's very interesting. For one thing, realise that if you have all your eggs in one basket, it's not quite a secure situation. So because I've only the market, I felt I needed to also broaden my situation. So via I landed a couple of pitches, a couple of opportunities to meet an owner of many shops in Amsterdam and another couple who were starting a beautiful business together. And I also feel there is a very standard business way you could do this. You have to go with your PowerPoint, you have your tastes, your samples, your speech. And I thought, why am I taking a PowerPoint? I don't want people to look at my laptop. I want them to look at the food.
Yes.
So I prepared myself, and I prepared very well, but I know my products. I know my prices. You have to know everything, really. Otherwise, you're not behind what you do. And then the bottom line is you should feel you're in this with passion, and not only because you can make a quick buck. I mean, that comes through in the pitch very easily. So I understood that when I did go into the pitch, it was a bit of like a hurricane. I kind of went in with all my products. I had my catalogue. I was pretty professional. I had 2 beautiful dishes there for them to taste, and it was just like wonderful. It was laughter. I was relaxed. I was taking food out for them to smell, and just fantastic. And they were really blown over.
Were there any stumbling blocks with you being non-Dutch, or can you speak fluent Dutch?
Absolutely, yeah. Nederlands natuurlijk.
Oh, right. So, well,
Woon here heel long. So I've lived here for 29 years.
But did you do it in English anyway?
Yes, in English. And I'm used to swinging from one language to another, because on the market stand we speak 3 languages all the time, and a lot of Dinglish and English and Gringlish. So, I also feel that, I'm quite flexible.
Yes.
If people demanded a Nederlands pitch, it would have been there.
Yeah.
But good luck in those pitches then. So for listeners, you never know, you might see products from the Greek Geli and all sorts of other places other than the Lindengrachtmarkt.
Yeah, and so you're also involved. In fact, that's how we met, was through the event at Kitchen Republic earlier this year. So they presumably have been a great support for you as well.
Oh, absolutely. Extremely impressive for the beginning of COVID-19, when all of the chefs in the kitchen. I'll just backtrack a bit. It's an amazing location in Amsterdam. You rent a space, you become a member, 900 square meter space, and you use incredible equipment, and you can go in there and you prepare your food, and a very, very like family atmosphere. And from the beginning of COVID-19, they reached out to everybody. They wanted to know everyone's situation. How can they help us? And they have been supportive from day one. And so it's also a really relaxed kitchen. We keep our distance, but we also play music, and we're dancing while we're cooking. So wonderful. I'm also sometimes the DJ in there. And they sometimes really like my Greek playlist. So, of course, we have to play a bit of Zorba. But, I just thought we have to lighten up in life a little bit, and we need to feel just the simple things in life, the beautiful food, the singing, the dancing, the company of people.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just way too heavy.
Yeah, that's a very fantastic philosophy. I wish I could hold on to that more often, but I'll certainly try. So, where are we?
Do you have any advice for any newcomers who are thinking of maybe setting up a similar kind of business, importing produce from another place from outside of the Netherlands?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think, for one, learn or know your product. Learn and really spend time on knowing what you're doing. Get excited about it. Really get excited. I sat in January, beautiful, it was a lecture from a young Dutch lady making cauliflower pizza. And she was so cool. And she went from nothing to incredible levels now. She burnt the kitchen. She did all these things. But the passion behind, you need to find your passion of something. And don't go out there and repeat what's out there. Why? Why? Or you do it far superior, or you do it with a twist, or you can find another niche in it. Do your homework and know what you want to bring out there. And ask yourself, use yourself as an example. What do I like to eat? I'm always asking myself.
Yeah.
And you're a big old storyteller yourself as well. So I guess it's part of it, knowing the story of your products and stuff, which you do so well.
There's beautiful stories out there, like the farmers. Some of the farmers that I have imported over the years have never, ever even left their village with their produce. And I bring an incredible feta from Lesbos, from a tiny little village, 40 k's out of the main town. I order the olive oil at the same time. So they go drive past, pick up the feta at the same time to get it to the transport company. And otherwise, because the transport company won't go and pick up the feta. So I always have these two synchronized. And the feta producer, she's a tiny little lady, Maria, of course, is her name. And it's hand cut and it's packaged just when I'm ordering. She doesn't have like tins and tins of feta piled up waiting to go out. She is remarkable. You do not even need a lot of her feta. The aftertaste, it's so creamy and beautiful. And the sheep are so happy. And the goats, it's 80% sheep, 20% goat. That's feta.
Oh, right. On that note, then let's get our listeners' taste buds going. So, if people, what's a really easy way? What are your tips for people, especially those that might be used to going on a Greek holiday and maybe cannot this year because of the coronavirus? How are they going to be able to recreate some of those lovely Greek dishes with your ingredients?
I think, for one thing, if you go for the lowest quality in the supermarket, you will not feel satisfied. And the result, you'll probably want to eat more of it. So if you, or wherever you buy your food, of course you can buy it from me, but if you can't, obviously, you can find a very good quality feta still in the supermarkets or in the cheese, the cheese winkles. But what you do is you use less ingredients and you actually highlight the product more. So I recommend simplify. And now we've got beautiful summer vegetables out there. Also local Amsterdam farmers. And look for that. Go to the markets because you see beautiful food there, and be flexible and eat seasonal.
Yes. And what about, because I always associate Greek holidays with fish. Have you got any tips for anyone like to recreate the kind of Greek fish experience?
Gosh, I have this one amazing recipe and people just almost faint. I've had people in tears from it, and it comes from the Greek fishermen in Lesbos. Okay. And I used to watch them a lot because I have a house in Lesbos. I know what people are like there. And the Greeks are not sexy like the Italians. They just get things and they just whack them together. But they taste so good. So the fishermen, they catch these very tiny like sardines, the smallest ones. They catch them in the morning. They throw salt in the bag with the sardines, and they shake the bag. Then they leave it. And at the end of the day, the sardines are actually salted. They're cooked.
Or like macerated.
It's a bit like a ceviche with lemon, but with salt. So you wash that salt off.
Right.
And actually you can take the sardine by the tail and split it in two and eat it like a haring, like the Dutch raw fish.
Lovely.
It's cooked. Yeah. And it is remarkable. And I sometimes touch it up with a bit of lemon but it has almost this freshness of the sea. So we have that in the evening. This is what the fishermen do in the afternoon with their ouzo after they finish work. So they prepare the fish in the morning, the sardines, leave them, and at the end of the day, on a hot summer day...
It's so simple, it's hard to believe, you know?
Exactly.
So it's sardines and salt.
Super easy, listeners.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think we need to simplify things and not be afraid because fear is just a terrible thing. There's too much fear being pushed onto us now. But we can do things in the most simplistic way and trust your own taste buds. Gosh, this tastes great. Why don't I, do it?
I'm going to definitely try that.
Yeah. But you must get them super fresh.
Yes.
So you have to go to the fishmonger. Like I know when they are flown in from Italy. I know I don't get the Spanish ones because they're too big. You need the smaller ones. And it's heaven, absolutely. And not all the Greeks do this. This is a very specific regional dish in Lesbos.
That sounds wonderful, wonderful. So that's a very, as you say, typical dish from Lesbos. But being a mixed country with a mainland and lots of islands, presumably the cuisine does vary across the country. And you're not just stocking Lesbos products, are you? You are.
No, my family come from the Mount Olympus, so we're mountain people, but I import my uncle's honey, which is very unique. It's very dark honey, and it's from 1,300 meters above sea level, so it's very high in the forest in Mount Olympus, and he moves the bees around to make them happy, and it's like medicine. You only need a teaspoon of it. And the taste just hangs, and it's so beautiful. So I import from I import that honey. I import also beautiful organic olives from Geli because he knows his olives low salt, sun-dried, and low amount of salt is used, and they're preserved with that and with a little bit of olive oil, because sometimes low salt doesn't preserve the olives very well. But he's so good at it. And these are almost sweety, you like eat them like a lolly.
Wow.
Lovely.
And then earlier you mentioned ouzo. Do you also import booze?
I used to, but there's a remarkable amount of paperwork.
Oh, right.
Oh, my gosh, the accijns, the Dutch douane, customs. Within Europe, you pay also all this paper. You have to do paperwork, and you have to calculate the plateau and blah, blah, blah. I used to import wine and beer. And
So much more than other
but
produce?
not anymore.
Really? Okay.
No, not anymore. Now I specialise in the cheeses, the olive oil, the herbs. I have a great farmer for herbs, Alexandros, and he has his own land. You're not allowed to pick free wild herbs from Greece anymore because people have been emptying the mountains from the... they've been buying all the chamomile and everything.
Yes.
He has his own land. So beautiful oregano. The Greek oregano is the strongest of all in the Mediterranean. It's very peppery, and you don't need a lot of it.
Yeah.
So, but
it goes a long way.
Yeah, but then you won't be able to order Retsina from you either. Then
Retsina, I think you can get that anyway in all the commercial shops.
Yeah.
I think. If I would bring in a spirit, it would be the tsipuro, which is almost like the Greek raki. It's about 40-something%, and it's from grape, and it's amazing. And you only need a little bit of it, and it acts as a sort of like it enhances your appetite. And you have it while you're eating. And the problem is when you try to stand up. Pretty much, that's a hard one, that one. Yeah, I know. And it does lead you to behaving in a different way.
Oh, my goodness.
I'll save that for when I
If you
actually
ever
go to Greece on holiday. Yeah.
Yes, you've got to order tsipuro, really. Tsipuro without aniseed, and it's just superb. Once the Greek truck driver brought it for me under the seat. Yeah, in a Coca-Cola kind of a bottle. I know.
Lovely.
It's very naughty. Don't tell anyone.
No, we're not telling
Just the
anyone.
whole of Amsterdam on the radio.
Fantastic. Oh, Effie, that's really great. Thank you so much for coming in and sharing your stories.
Thank you.
You really whetted my appetite now for some Greek cuisine.
Oh, you're welcome to come down to the market if I'm standing there. I think I am, or at my friend's house. And we'll just have, you'll meet all sorts of people and you'll have a lot of fun.
You've
and
painted
taste the
such a
food.
colourful picture. It really sounds great.
Thank you.
So how do people just get in touch with you if they want to reach out to you?
They can always send me an email, which is, I think, on my website, I presume. I'm such a naughty bunny. Of course, I have an email address at info@thegreekdeli.nl.
That's it. Yeah. And you're on Instagram as well, aren't you?
I am, but again, I'm naughty bunny there because I'm just not very Instagram-ish myself, but I have a lot of assistants.
I bet you're so busy. You can't really take photos on the stall because you're so busy talking to people and connecting.
Making that connection.
But people like to see the photos, don't they, and see what you're up to.
They love the stories as well.
Yeah.
I have so many, and I think that's the beauty of life. Life is always these stories. These stories carry us, and we think of these stories, and they are inspirational. And at the moment, we need inspiration, and we need to look at life with another light, and we need to go back to the most simple things, what matters in life, the beautiful company of friends, food, singing, dancing, and just being harmonious.
I agree with that.
What a perfect
message. So don't forget the Greek Deli, .nl, thegreekdeli.nl, and good luck and look out for Effie on the Lindengracht market.
Thank you.
Amsterdam Kitchen.
Broadcast Amsterdam, your local radio station, 24/7 and on demand. Or on broadcastamsterdam.nl.